Hi everyone, and welcome to Bikini Design Club once more. If you are new to our channel, please make sure you watch the entire video because sometimes I like to improvise, and regarding finishes I decide last minute what to do. So today's pattern is very nice, and the pattern will include a lot of options, so let me explain you first of all the options you have. So the top I'm sewing today is a round neckline, and we have very short sleeves on the sides, and the finish is just under the bust, so it's like a crop top with short sleeves. But on the same pattern you also have the option of doing long sleeves, which already we included on the pattern, so you can just print the long sleeves instead of the short ones. And if you want, instead of finishing the top under your bust, if you want to extend the long sleeve and you want to make it probably till your hips or a little bit below the waist, you also have that pattern included. So this can be short sleeve, long sleeve, crop top or long top. You decide. All the pattern pieces are included. Now let's dig in on what I have here. So I've decided today to do the tutorial for the short sleeve, and I want to explain you that we do not line our sleeves. You can do it, but we don't do it, and this is a non-reversible pattern. We believe that this is already a lot of coverage to protect you from the sun. But if we do this 2 layers and reversible, which we could, it would be too much fabric on you and you would be very warm with the sun. So this is not reversible, and this is a thin lining fabric. I don't have black. If I had, I would use, but I only have this color, so that's why mine it's this color today. For the sleeves, instead of using lining, I used a fabric, swimwear fabric, and just because I think I want the look to be a little bit stiffer on the sleeves, and that's why I decided to do this today, but you can decide if you want to do something different. Then I have a band here that I've cut it a strap, and this is, like I told you in the beginning, something that I'm still deciding if I want to use it or not. I'm deciding if I want to give a finish on the neckline with a small touch of this color, or if I want to do a band lower here below the bust. You can check out our long sleeve pattern for life adult long sleeve, and you can see that we did a finish on the sleeves with a purple match contrasting with the black, which I really like it. So I'm deciding if I want to add that detail here or not, so that's why I have this small pattern strap cut it here. So let's start preparing our pattern, and the first thing we need to do, of course, the pattern pieces are very simple. You use the fold, you cut the darts, you mark the notches, because every time you have sleeves you have notches on the pattern, and so you have to mark the notches on the fabric. And so if you notice, my fabric has small cuts that I made when I was cutting the pieces to match front with back and etc. But I will show you during the sewing, the tutorial. So I have here my front, my back, my back and my front on my main fabric. I really love this fabric. And the first thing I'm going to do is prepare the 4 darts. So fold the fabric right sides facing together like so, pin on the dart area. Do this for the 4 darts, and using the straight stitch machine we will sew the darts. I've shown this on most of my tutorials because if you already know us, you know that I like to include darts and center back seams on the bottoms. Everything I can do to make this fit better, I do. So that's why this top, again, like many other tops we have on our store, have included darts. So I'm gonna sew the darts starting from the edge here, and this is a small curve, so we do the curve until we reach the folded fabric here. Then very near the edge I'm gonna sew 3 or 4 stitches more, and then leaving a tail, so not going back on my sewing machine, leaving a tail. I'm gonna leave the tail, and I'm coming back to my table. I'm tying 2 knots and cutting that tail, and that's how I get the perfect finish for my darts. And I will repeat the process for the main fabric and also for my lining. I will not get this on camera. If you want to see me doing darts, you have many other tutorials where you can see it. I really think some things on the machine I'm not going to film. I don't want to take 1 hour for the video, because some of you, most of you, will not see the entire video. So if you want to check how to sew the darts, you have many other videos where I do this in detail, okay? And I've explained how to. So let's go ahead, prepare the darts, sew the darts, and come back to the table. So I've sewed the darts, but I want to show you in detail how to finish them. You tie 2 knots. Cut the excess. Grab the darts and slightly trim it here. And your dart is ready. When we are sewing the side seam, we will flatten the dart and sew this with the seams open, okay? And so that's it. Do that for your 4 darts. Time to combine our front with our back. So with my right side facing up on my table, I place my back here, and I'm going to sew the shoulder area, and we will do the same for the main fabric. So now with our front and back together, we can grab one of our sleeves. In this case I'm gonna sew this one. And we have the notches marked, remember? And so the center notch matches the center seam that combines the front with the back. So I flatten the seam and I match the center knot and I pin. And this is something interesting because the sleeves have a curve on one direction and then you have your pattern with a curve on the opposite direction. And this may look hard, but in fact it's not that hard. You just need to match the notch like so, and you also match the end of your sleeve. And then when you go to your sewing machine, you just need to be carefully aligning the fabric and making sure that everything is in place. Sometimes what I do is I use a lot of pins, and that helps me a lot to make sure that my seam is on the correct place. But it's up to you to feel if you need to place the pins or not. So as you can see, I'm placing some pins. Sometimes it's easier to grab the fabric and align it once it's on your hand instead of on the table, because of the curve, but it's really up to you. We included seam allowances as always, and you need to print your pattern only your size using the layers. If you don't know how to, just check our YouTube tutorial on how to sew, how to print the patterns using the layers. So do this for lining and main fabric, both sleeves. I'm gonna use a straight stitch here, but with elasticity, so it's not a real straight stitch. It looks like a straight stitch, but it isn't. It's the lightning stitch. So on my straight stitch machine, I do a lightning stitch all around my seam, combining the 2 fabrics, and I do this 4 times. So let me just show you in detail here. So here is the middle, the notch, and the edge, right? And now you just need to grab it on your hand, probably it's easier. Distribute the curve tension along the curve for both fabrics. Ow! And you see here, align them. Sometimes it helps that I stretch the fabrics just a little bit and then I release the tension, but I flatten it on the table and I place the 2 pins to help me, or 3, and this is easy now. So when you go to your sewing machine, this will be perfect, okay? So just do this for all your edges, all your seams, and sew with 8 millimeters seam allowance, just like mentioned on the pattern. Now we have many different ways to finish our top. I'm gonna do one of the options, but maybe later I will do some other options. So the sleeve is attached, and if you want, you can now at this stage go ahead to your sewing machine and do a top stitch, securing the seam towards your body sides, and do a top stitch all around from the back to the front, securing and flattening that seam towards your body. And once that is ready, we can reverse this to the wrong sides, and we are going to match the sides, pin the sides, and sew them here. And we will do the same on this side and exactly the same on our lining. So on the reversed sides, sew the sides for this one and for the lining. So I've decided to go to my straight stitch machine and do a new stitch that is elastic stitch, but this is like a cover stitch, but it's elastic and it's made on my straight stitch machine. The stitch actually looks pretty nice. I like it. I prefer this one than the zigzag. And this is a new machine I'm testing. It's the Bernina B325. If you want, you can also trim the excess fabric that we have here on these seam allowances. It's really fine because we have made a top stitch, and so the fabrics were already sewn together, and then we did a top stitch, so they are quite secure, and you don't need the extra fabric here on your seam because it gives you some bulkiness on the shoulder. So you can go ahead and cut and trim all around if you want, so that the finish, once this is ready, will be even more perfect and nice. I don't like bulky seams under the arms or on the shoulder, especially under the arms. If you are doing this for surf or any beach activity, you don't want to feel a lot of fabric on you, right? I mean, this is not neoprene, so you are not looking for something thick. So why doing it with a lot of seams and with a lot of fabric, right? And so this looks pretty nice. Sorry, I'm always interrupting and coming back, but I remember things and I tell you and share as I go along. I've done my sides seams on my overlock. I'm just going to trim again the excess fabric that I have here on these seams from the lining, and then we will combine the lining with the main piece. Now was the moment where I lost the videos that I've done, so just a couple of them, so I'm gonna explain you what to do next, and then I gladly have the videos and we'll be back on the other videos. But for now you have to do what I will explain you, but it's very simple. We have just made the sides of our crop top, right? So we just need to place them right sides facing together, and on the sides of your main fabric, apply the elastic on your neckline. And that's quite easy. You don't need me to shoot again the video for you to do this. So go ahead to your overlock, apply the elastic on the side of your main fabric, on the neckline all around, placing right sides facing together of your lining and your main piece. So the next thing you need to do is decide how are you going to finish the crop top on your under the bust area. And I've decided to do it with a strap contrasting fabric. I have images that I'm gonna show you now that are not from the actual top, because I actually decided to use a contrast color for the edge of the crop top, but I'm gonna show you the images anyway so that you can see how I calculated the same exact procedure for the long sleeve. So I'm gonna show you the images from the long sleeve on the next seconds, but then we will be already on our crop top reel video with the real images. Sorry about this. Bye guys. So I've applied my strap just like I told you, with the elastic on top here, because my goal is just to fold this, leaving the elastic like so, and with the edge of the elastic leaning to that side, I'm just going to fold this inside like so. And I'm going to use a stitch with the same color of this fabric, and I'm gonna do a cover stitch all around this strap here. And this means that after that's done, I just need to trim the excess, and I will have a good finish on the inside. And also I will have this pop-up under the bust that I really like. If we wanted, we could do exactly the same for the shoulders, for the sleeves. But I'm not going to. What I'm going to do with the sleeves now is I'm going to reverse this to the wrong side again. And as you can see here inside, the finish is pretty good. But this is very thin, so it's very comfortable. And as I told you, I want my sleeves to be a little bit stiffer, and that's why I applied swimwear elastic on the short sleeves. But on the long sleeve version, which I'm going to prepare a tutorial, I'm not going to apply any lining whatsoever. I think a long piece doesn't need lining on the sleeves, okay? So I'm gonna do the tutorial just like I did for our life pattern, with no lining on the sleeves, only lining on the body. So moving on, I'm pinning all around my sleeve, and I'm going to apply the elastic on the side of this blue, so on the side of my lining, because once my elastic is sewn, I will then fold and do a top stitch, and it will be finished. And I will do exactly the same on this side. And after I do these two things, my top will be ready. I will share some pictures of the final results on the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed our video, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. We'll really need your support to keep growing our channel. And that's it. And I hope to see you soon. And I really hope to get feedback from you, and leave your comments, please, so that I know what you think. And if you try the pattern, also send me pictures, and join our Facebook group so that you can share your experiments with us. I love experiments. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Bye! So I did my top stitch with a zigzag. I folded the elastic because I think the amount of blue that I want to see, it's good like this. So I bended the elastic to the other side, and this is the result. This is dark blue, the thread, and on the other side it's turquoise. And then I just need to trim the excess here if I want. Okay, so I can trim here, and here I've applied the elastic as I told you on the lining side. Now I'm gonna fold this inside like so, and I'm gonna do a zigzag on that side, and it will be finished. So here we have the top ready. This is how it looks on the outside, and this is the sleeve, how it looks. I think it's pretty nice. And then the neckline, I'm gonna put it on, and you will not see the lining. You will see that this is perfect.